Hello, I'm Nathan P. Butler, author of a Saga on home video and host of From the Star Wars Home Video Library here on YouTube, and this is Star Wars Home Video Year by Year. This time we take a look at 2010, or 2010. I'm going to say them interchangeably and drive myself nuts in the process throughout this chunk of the series, I'm sure. So this is the year in which the Clone Wars series, of course, continues with the end of Season 2, beginning of Season 3. The Clone Wars Adventures MMO launches, kind of a kiddie version of something like a Star Wars Galaxies. In video games, we also see the release of The Force Unleashed 2, and we see in Clone Wars kind of an oddball instance where they take the 3 episodes of the Night Sisters arc, combine them into a single film, and release it in theaters. It will not get released on home video, though, on physical media, though it will be released digitally later. For the record, just so I don't forget next year, it is released digitally in 2011. It's not a physical release, so we're not going to pay it a whole lot of attention. But of course, with Season 2 wrapping up this year, this is when we see The Clone Wars, the complete Season 2 on home video. In the US, you again get a fancy schmancy digibook-style version on Blu-ray. This time, there is a book, but the book actually goes into a little holder that's connected to the spine. That is the case for Blu-ray and for DVD. Again, different sizes, but effectively the same design here. Now, for what it's worth, those episodes are in the theatrical widescreen, so different than what we saw on Cartoon Network, where it was 16:9, as we talked about last time, but there aren't any director's cuts or anything in this particular season. For comparison, as with Season 1, we got a second season release on Blu-ray, and of course DVD as well, but this is the Blu-ray version here in the UK, and kind of different packaging, but similar to what we saw for Season 1. However, the big deal is that in the UK, they start getting multi-season boxed sets effectively immediately. As soon as Season 2 is out alongside 1 the previous year, they get this. The complete Seasons 1 and 2. I believe there's a DVD version as well, but this is the Blu-ray version, and we'll see these in Blu-ray fashion as we go along here year to year. In Japan, they had a fancy version, just like they did the previous year, though not as fancy, at least not the version that I have, and this is the last one we're going to see out of Japan for these for comparison purposes. But again, they have kind of that nice plastic covering that has all the J-card type stuff actually on the covering. They have a package to what is similar to the US DVD release, despite the fact that what's inside are Blu-ray discs. And they do have the booklet. In this case, the booklet just goes behind the DVD-sized case, so they're both the same size, back into the little plastic cover. So the book doesn't have to actually be bound into the packaging that holds the discs at all. Now, circling back to the UK, but not for season sets, the UK was a little bit odd in how they handled releases of batches of Clone Wars episodes rather than full seasons. You would expect that typically you would see batches of episodes so that people who are really kind of champing at the bit to get them could get them early, and then you put out a season set. But in the UK for Season 1, it was, here's your season set in 2009, and then in 2010, now we'll give you individual releases. So for Season 1, we get, in the UK, Season 1, Volume 1. These are going to look similar to what we saw out of Australia here, just in the next year. Again, looks like a galaxy divided. Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. But then, once Season 2 was already out as a season set, at the end of 2010, they start releasing individual volumes for Season 2 on DVD also. So, the first one of those comes out this year. This is Season 2, Volume 1. Kind of hard to read there. They will continue this, but it carries over into 2011 for the other 3 of this weird run of individual Season 2 releases. Now, what's interesting about these is that Season 1, despite the fact that these came out after the season set was already out, these were essentially based on the same design as what we saw out of Australia the previous year. So Season 1 is the aired 16:9 versions of the episodes, which means no director's cuts. So in the UK, you could also get the original versions on home video for all of the ones that had director's cuts, including Lair of Grievous, which didn't have a release in the US as not being a director's cut. But then when it came to the ones for Season 2, at this point, these are basically just the Season 2 boxed set discs, just with new labels on them slapped into individual releases. So there's not even consistency on aspect ratio as you go between Season 1 and Season 2 on these individual volumes. For what it's worth, the way they denoted that, and this is kind of a weird way of denoting it in my opinion, if you look at the back and the specs here for Season 1, it says 16:9 full frame, and the ones for Season 2 say 16:9 letterbox. So they're basically telling you it's going to be for your 16:9 television, but these will be letterbox, meaning they will have black bars on top and bottom, meaning that the image is wider, it is shorter, it is the theatrical aspect ratio that they originally produced the episodes in, rather than filling up your entire 16:9 screen as aired on Cartoon Network, in the US at least. Odd. And confusing with the way that it's labeled on the packages. This year also saw one of the heaviest DVD sets released for Star Wars, one of the heaviest items released for Star Wars, but certainly things like that AFI Century collection are a little bit heavier, and that is this monster. This is the 20th Century Fox 75th Anniversary Collection. Notice it's got Vader there on one of the sides. This package includes a nice book about what exactly it is that you're seeing here, about the background of the different films that are included. And then there are 3 individual volumes. We have Book 1, 1935 to 1960, Book 2, 1961 to 1985, with Vader on it there, and then Book 3, 1986 to 2010. So 1935 to 2010, but not really, because the first film is actually from 1933 and the last one's actually from 2009, but whatever. The key thing is that in Volume 2, as these are divided up by year and film, when you get to 1977, it's Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And what this is just our same film disc that we saw in 2004, 2005, 2006, and 2008 with a new label on top of it. No theatrical cut, despite the fact that what they're looking at here is its place in history in 1977, not 2004. It's a really nice set, though, if you can get your hands on it. Unfortunately, they're pretty heavy, so a little expensive to ship, and they don't pop up on eBay as often now as they used to. But another way to get A New Hope, this time with an unusual label, rather than just being a repackage of a retail copy like we saw in the AFI Century collection. Though at least that set had a new clamshell. Now, as you notice the background shift here, and a bunch of those toys disappear from that top shelf, yes, it's finally time to look at what the heck those are that we've been seeing for a while here in the background. In 2010, both Walmart and Target had some exclusive Clone Wars toy packages that included DVDs. How they approached them was quite a bit different, however. So, at Walmart, we have these packages here. You have 2 figures inside, in this case, Ahsoka Tano and Plo Koon, for the episode Rising Malevolence. Notice a DVD behind it that we'll see in just a moment. The second of these was Shadow of Malevolence. This one having Matchstick and Anakin. Matchstick being a clone trooper. And then Destroy Malevolence has Obi-Wan and Grievous. And what is inside those is a set of DVDs for each episode of that trilogy. So they'll have the title, an image, and then the other side is always advertising that Season 1 set. But we have all 3 of these here in their own little jackets. The actual labels basically looking like this. And those are relatively easy to find today, sealed, not extremely so, but relatively so. At Target, they had a weird little pack-in DVD in 2 packages. This was that DVD called Bounty Hunters. It's just a weird little DVD that shows basically a little warning and some clips to warn you about some bounty hunters that are out there on the loose in the Republic. So, no episodes here. And there were 2 packages that you could find that in, and the DVD was identical, the jacket was identical across both packages, although the figures were different. You have 1 package based on the episode Hostage Crisis. Okay. This includes Shahan Alama, Robo Nino, and a couple of commando droids here. Of the 2 from Target, that is the easiest one to find. The one that is ridiculously difficult to find now is this one, based on the episode The Hidden Enemy. And this includes Rex, Slick, Chopper, that is the Clone Trooper Chopper, and Gus from that episode. But you notice just behind them here in either package, there's your Bounty Hunters DVD, plain as day. And these say in the corner, includes Bounty Hunters DVD. These say includes DVD and then names the episode, so pretty easy to spot. I would note, by the way, for those who enjoy tabletop games or those who collect the figures, aside from the DVD, just using Shadow of Malevolence as an example here, and your figures, right, there's Anakin, there's Matchstick, various accessories. It does include instruction cards, which on the back are character cards that would slip into the character bases here to be able to play, using the included die, the Star Wars Galactic Battle game where you pit figures in combat against each other. It's pretty basic, but a nice thing to add some functionality to those figures. Speaking of toys, we also see a reissue of the Lightsaber Battles mini DVD from the previous year, only now with a new label and new packaging despite being the same content on the disc. So there's our new packaging here, fitting this new product line design. And of course it would be found inside lightsaber toys. You have the vertical orientation or the horizontal orientation here. And as always, I get a Vader, so there's a horizontal orientation and the vertical orientation. And notice that whether it's here or on the front, it does indicate if your version does have the mini DVD inside. In terms of those parodies we've been looking at, no new Robot Chicken yet. That won't come until the following year, but we do see the end of the Family Guy trilogy with It's a Trap, based of course on Return of the Jedi. And that one has us a Blu-ray DVD digital combo pack and a DVD version, which includes a digital copy as well. Only this time what you'll find is that while there is still a code, the special itself and the digital copy are actually on the same disc, kind of like the bonus features and digital copy for some of those releases of the Clone Wars in '08. That is the same, by the way, for the copy that's inside the Blu-ray, which kind of makes me think they were just like, well, we already got a DVD with the digital copy on it. We're going to need to put a digital copy in this anyway. Screw it. Just let it be that same one so they actually get a DVD copy of it too, just so we don't have to produce different discs or something. And then with that meaning that the trilogy is complete for Family Guy, we got some big boxed sets. For DVD, we have this gold version, obviously patterned after the full screen version of the 2004 original trilogy DVD set. And then in smaller packaging, which really didn't have anything to model after because it wouldn't be until the next year that we finally got a Blu-ray set for the original 6 films, we get something kind of similar, a little more blue tinted than silver, but similar to the 2004 DVD release, mirroring this one for Blu-ray, but in Blu-ray size. So that'll wrap us up for this year. Not a huge year, but plenty of toy-related stuff, some cool Clone Wars-related stuff, and the end of the Family Guy stuff, at least for now, barring any reissues. So a solid year here. Next year, though, is going to be crazy because it finally sees the release of episodes 1 through 6 on Blu-ray. So join us next time as we check out 2011.